Oh, hello, this is Tak Chong from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I've posted in the past. Some dishes, such as this beef and Mongolian dish, is very fast to cook, but they still can be delicious. The reason is that advanced prepping can play a significant role to make home cooking practical, efficient, and creative and fun. So if you're pushing for time, there's always dishes you can cook very quickly. This dish is an excellent example. When Judy came home late one night, her husband Paul is already in the kitchen, and he told her that a dinner will be ready in about 15 minutes. So the first thing he did after he walked in the kitchen is that he found some beef in the freezer. He took the beef out of the freezer and he put it in a bowl of lukewarm water. And this will allow the beef to thaw out in about 10 minutes. This is where advanced prepping play a significant role. Now they bought some beef about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was on sale and the cut is a flank steak. So instead of freeze it the way as it is, they cut the beef up into the size that's suitable for stir frying. And they're able to package them in the portion they want. And they package it in 8-ounce portion because they want to use the beef as a condiment rather than as a main ingredient, so they can cook with other vegetables. So while the beef is being thawed, Paul looked into the kitchen and he found some onions that Judy cut up, probably about 3 or 4 days ago. Now onion has great shelf life as well. However, once the onion has been cut, the shelf life greatly reduces and usually lasts only about 4 to 5 days. So when Paul looked at that, he decided this is a time for him to use up the onion for this particular dish. And onion and beef is a dish that they really enjoy. And because of advanced prepping, he doesn't have to do anything other than just find it in the refrigerator. And then he also ran across some carrots. Now carrot has wonderful shelf life. In fact, carrots can be stored in the refrigerator up to 3 or 4 weeks. So they always have carrots on hand. And carrot is a great filler for many different types of dishes. So he decided that he's going to use some carrot for this stir-fry dish as well. And by now, the beef has thawed out. And Paul is going to marinate the beef first with a small amount of cornstarch, roughly about maybe 1 tablespoon. And then he's going to add about ½ tablespoon of the Walk with Tak basic seasoning mix. This seasoning mix will provide umami flavor for the beef. But you can use any type of seasoning agent that you want. And last but not the least, he is going to add a small amount of sugar, which will play an important role to cause caramelization of the beef. And this marinating method is frequently known as dry marinating. The dry marinating plays a very important role in stir frying because the first step in stir frying is to sear the protein. And in order to sear the protein properly, the meat should be as dry as possible, and as much moisture should be removed. And using this method, he can remove as much moisture as he can, so the searing will be more efficient. After mixing all the ingredients together, now he is ready to cook. For this demonstration, I am going to cook it in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok, and I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of canola oil. Now you can use almost any oil that you would like, as long as it has a high smoking point. The selection of cooking oil sometimes can be quite personal. Now the next step is that to spot season the wok, because in this case, the wok must have a non-stick cook surface. I use my spot seasoning method, which is very simple. I simply heat up the oil to its smoking point, and I then turn down the heat, and I let the oil to smoke gently for about 15 seconds. And this is the time when the oil is being seasoned. And it is also the time when the oil reaches its highest temperature because that's the temperature you want to sear the beef. So by this time, I turn the heat back up, and then I put the meat into the wok. Now the Cuisinart 14-inch stainless wok is nice because it has a large flat surface area, so I can use it like a small frying pan. And for only about somewhere between 10 to 15 seconds, I turn down the heat because at this point, I do not want to overcook the beef. Now, this is very much dependent on how much you want to cook the beef. Somebody like it medium rare, somebody like it a little bit more well done. And I immediately add the onion to the beef. Now, when I combine with turning down the heat and adding the onion, it dropped the temperature of the beef almost immediately. Now, this is important because you want to cook the beef slowly after you sear them, because this is the only way for you to keep the beef tender and moist. Now, it depends on what kind of doneness that you want. If you want the beef to be more done, then you can cook a little bit longer before you turn down the heat and add the onion. But most of the time, I will like my beef somewhere between medium to medium rare. So as you can see, now the beef is still a little bit red. By the time when I finish cooking, they will be about done. Next, I add the carrot. I do not add a whole lot of carrot because I'm going to use the carrot as a secondary ingredient, mainly to complement the onion. The carrot has a lot of nice flavor and it will add sweetness to the dish. Okay, the dish is really done. I shut off the heat, and the next step is for me to finish the dish to seasoning it. I'm going to add first a little bit of oyster sauce, about half tablespoon. I do not want to add too much because I like it to be relatively mild in flavor, so I can taste the flavor of the ingredients. And then I add about half teaspoon of hoisin sauce, again, very small amount. And you can adjust it depending on how strong the flavor that you would like. And through flavor chasing, you can create the flavor exactly how you like it. Some people like it stronger, then you can add more hoisin sauce or the oyster sauce. Now you notice that the bottom of the wok, there are some of the ingredients have burned to the bottom surface of the wok. And I sprayed just a small amount of water right over the material that has been burned. And you can see, use the wok spatula, I can incorporate all of them back into the dish. This method frequently known as deglazing. I call it spot cleaning because you clean the wok as you cook. The last but not least, I'm going to add just a touch of dark soy sauce. The dark soy sauce will enhance the color of the dish, also will make the dish a little bit more salty. Again, it depends on your personal preference. All of this adjustment can be done on the fly, and that's one great thing about stir frying. You can make adjustments as you cook. Finally, I'm going to garnish the dish with some scallions. The reason that I add the scallion way toward the end, I do not want to cook it very much at all. In fact, you can add the scallion after you plate the dish, but quite often you might want to add the scallion at the final stage of the cooking process. The total cook time of this dish is only about 3 or 4 minutes, extremely fast, and this is the reason why Paul told Judy, dinner will be ready in a few minutes. And in this case, I'm going to serve this dish with some white steamed rice. Now, I always have some rice on hand, and that is something that you can always prepare in advance because rice store really well in the refrigerator. You can keep the rice in the refrigerator for as long as 2 weeks, and they warm up very well in the microwave. And if you want, you can also steam it if you don't have a microwave oven. But most of the time, the rice can be also used for making fried rice. So it is a very convenient way to have some rice on hand. Now this dish is very fast to cook, but this is a template. What you need to know is that how to stir fry the beef to create the texture that you want, because the beef is ultimately the most important part of this dish. And most people have a particular preference how their beef to be done. And with some experimentation, you will get it right. You will find the exact doneness that you want. In this case, my beef is about a medium rare. Last but not least, I'm going to garnish the dish with additional scallion, but this scallion is different from the other one that I use. This scallion is the stem portion of the scallion. They are much stronger in the onion flavor. It really gives the dish a freshness that which make the dish more interesting as well as delightful. Last but not least, I'm going to garnish it with some sesame seed. Sesame seed will add texture to the dish. But more importantly is that sesame will enhance the appearance of the dish. It makes the dish more interesting. And so I use a combination of black and white sesame seed. So I always have some on hand, and this is relatively easy to finish up the dish. This dish is very fast to cook. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, is that Paul is able to put this dish on the table in about 15 minutes. So by the time when Julie get back into the dining room, Paul already have dinner on the table. So having some of this dish available to you will be very helpful. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine using my fast cooking system. If you'd like to learn more about my cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.